I'm assuming this will get uploaded to YouTube after the fact. So for anybody watching this after the fact, this is my name is Joel. I typically stream for Flipping Out every other Thursday. And so this is every other Thursday from 10 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. So feel free to check it out live. Come chat it up with us. A lot of this conversation is just on the fly based on what we're reading in chat. So real quick introductions. I mean, both of you guys have been on this before. Feel free to introduce yourself and what was the last pinball game you played. So Craig, feel free to go first.
Hi, I'm Craig Bobbie. You can see me on the pinball show where I do the Stern News correspondence. And, I recently got a Captain Marvel ramp mod
Oh yeah,
from the lovely folks at Diddy's Mods. So I ordered that. I think the last time
yeah,
I was on the show,
yeah,
Joel, we talked about that. And I
yeah,
was like,
with
oh,
Tom.
geez, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
So what I figured out was and I'm embarrassed to even say this, but I realized what the problem with the Captain Marvel ramp was after trying to get my head around this mod, and I couldn't get my head around it until I actually got it. So if on the Captain Marvel ramp itself, about the first quarter of that ramp doesn't exist on the left side. So I think what happens is the ball goes up the ramp and it doesn't have a surface on the left side to help carry it through, and therefore the ball rejects a little bit more than you might like. I was finding in my average games it was probably rejecting 40% of the time, sometimes 50, depending on how cleanly I would hit it. And since I put this thing in, which is a very easy install on the side, I'm probably up at 80%, 80
So
to
it's
90.
big
So it
improvement.
really helps. I did
Wow.
notice a big difference when I put that in. Like
Uh,
right away, like my first 3 shots, I was like boom, boom, boom. I was like, shit, like it
it's only
happens, but it's
2,000
like,
plays late. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
it seemed a lot more effortless. Now it still does reject, so don't get me wrong. It's
sure.
not like if you don't hit it cleanly or if you're not, but there are fewer balls that go like I was starting to get a lot of balls that go like halfway up the ramp and then come down
Yeah.
and reject that way. So anyway, and if the ramp, if the playfield isn't polished correctly, you start to get more. So I find that I can go longer without polishing and still have balls carry
Yeah.
through. So yeah. So anyway, it's a good motto. For $20, what the hell?
Yeah, Jaeger, you guys, we are talking about the Captain America, Captain Marvel ramp. Last time we did this, which was 2 weeks ago, we actually told Craig he should buy that mod, and he did. Kaz, thank you for the 41 bits. 41, unique number there. I don't know why you picked that, but appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Insanity Falls, you're the guy that on every Pinside, every TPN Pinside post, you talk about, I think you just love all of our voices. You want to hear Tom read the Bally manual, parts manual, and I think he wants to hear Craig
Williams
Bob
manual.
Williams
As long as it
manual.
wasn't
Yeah.
Pinbot.
Yeah, exactly. And Craig, do you remember what Insanity Falls said he
I
wanted you to
can't.
read? Yeah,
I
it
think
was
he was
something.
talking about I was droning on too long. I think I put him to sleep the last time. He didn't
No,
even know what I was
Insanity
saying.
Falls? No, you're
So
not.
yeah.
No, I don't believe you. It's Insanity something. I don't know what you're talking. Oh, okay. Yeah. And greetings from LA. Hello. Hey everybody. Thanks for being here. Number 30. Yeah. Oh wow. Awesome. Go try. Yeah. Thank you for tribe members being here and everything.
So I think actually my last game, I actually had the most successful Captain Marvel ramp shots I've ever had in a game, which was like 18 or 20 or something like that. So
does
I
it
just
track
basically
that?
focused on hitting it. Yeah, it does. It does.
Nice. Yeah.
So
I know like Led Zeppelin will
it's
track
working.
that. Yeah, the tribe is here. I think I said something about reading yourself. Yeah. Nice. Oh yeah, all the tribes showing up. Well, awesome. And then so Craig, thank you for being here. Thank you, Craig. If you guys haven't listened to it yet, the pinball show normally the last 2 weeks have been these two guys. Dennis did 2 weeks ago and Craig did this week. So the pinball show, feel free to listen to that. So Dennis Kriesel, thank you for being on here tonight. Feel free to introduce yourself and what was the last game of pinball you played?
Oh, no, I'm Dennis Kriesel, and I think it's been a while actually since I've played pinball. I think the last game I played was Getaway High Speed 2 in a tournament, and that was the game that sent me home. So
Oh wow. Okay. So you've
I
taken
like
some
that
time
game,
off.
but
Yeah.
you gotta get it going. Like whoever gets the multi-ball and gets the jackpots going, and I could not lock that third ball, and
Yeah.
so
You didn't do the
death.
thing. Yeah.
I know the thing and I know how to do it, but death.
Yeah. Yep. Well, awesome. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks both of you guys for being on here today. I threw out the bat signal, and Nordman showed up, and Craig's always ready to always ready to party. So
I'm
appreciate
always
it.
lingering in the background.
Yeah, got to get my Insider Connect installed. So, Kaz, you got your kit, but you technically operate games, right? Is this your personal kit, or you got a kit for your games on location? Random side note, I know we have a few topics to talk about, but the Insider Connected kit, Travis Murray, my podcast with Triple Drain, Tom and Travis and Tom have been somewhat critical of the Insider Connected kit. Travis got his because he operates a few games, and he put one on Led Zeppelin, and I think he put a few other games that he was on location. But he just messaged our group the other day, and he goes, "All right," he's like, "that Insider Connected kit really changes things." He goes, "It makes you." Because you have the individual objectives, you really have to learn the rules. So instead of having this one focus of just blowing the game up or trying to hit the wizard mode, you're trying to focus on very specific things. And Travis, I wasn't expecting him to be so like, he came out of nowhere and was like, "That thing's awesome. That thing worked really well and really changed it."
Well, Travis is a big achievement fan on the video game side,
Yeah.
I think so. I'm not surprised that it would change his behavior.
Whoa, Jaeger said our main location in Atlanta sent an email out saying he's removing all his kit and selling them because he doesn't want to buy them for all his old games. So he's saying he likes them, but he just can't. He doesn't want to commit to doing it for all of them. Is that what you're saying? Location games that come with a basic generic kit with no. Oh, okay, yeah. Couldn't believe that they're sending freaking CanaKit Wi-Fi dongles because they're full. Yeah, I know. I saw the install. I don't know if you guys watched this Stern official install video, but they're like, you're either gonna get this you're either gonna get this dongle, or you're gonna get like this dongle that has a Wi-Fi antenna. It's like they are just trying to do whatever they can to get parts. Cause I'll install it on Turtles. I also have Stranger Things Mando, but those two aren't updated. Oh, okay, that's true. No, he's saying he's mad calling it a paywall. Okay, so he just doesn't want to support it. Yeah, we just briefly were talking before we started on this, and we were talking about parts shortages, and I have no idea. I mean, we don't know, but do you think where do you think the part shortage is? Do you think it's node boards? Do you think it's USB dongles? Do you think it's custom parts like ramps that they can't get manufactured enough? Or do you think it's that's kind of what I'm leaning to. Do you think it's the custom parts, or do you think it's the generic, like everybody's trying to get, I don't know, like the parts needed for node board? Maybe on a node board there's one little capacitor that's sold out I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
No.
It's a guess. Yeah.
I would suspect it's a variety of stuff. It's not just one issue.
Given their behavior on which games they push back on production, it makes me think that there must be some unique things on occasion. But given the feedback regarding the struggles of people getting node boards, I'm guessing that probably falls into the processing chips, the semiconductor category.
Yeah.
Widespread demand, and we see that from other industries like automotive, really struggling, citing chips specifically as the big problem. And what is even a Stern pinball compared to a Ford? I mean,
Gotcha.
it's nothing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
So don't blow a node board right now.
Yeah.
Don't
be putting in your JP movie hacks and ruining your node boards.
Oh yeah.
Guys.
I've heard that's Zach. I mean, has mentioned Zach Many with Flipping Out. He's mentioned that before, that he's had customers that they blow a node board and he's trying to get, Stern will say, "Oh, we approve a replacement," but it's weeks for them to ship one because I'm curious if the line is like, there's probably that one part, maybe it is node boards that is like, "Oh, we got another shipment of 50, like bang, 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 bang," like knock those out. I don't know, but
part of my suspicion about maybe why they've had a big sort of slew of the Jurassic Park pin editions here lately is there's so many fewer boards in it.
Yeah,
that would be a plus.
They can get more out.
You get the neophytes, who aren't pinball people to buy it for Christmas. So there's a good financial reason to do it anyway.
Yeah, good point.
But if you got one board like controlling the whole play field, that's a lot less to have to worry about than trying to put together a Godzilla.
Do you get one game out that uses one node board, or do you get a standard game that uses like three? I don't know. Man, we rolled up to a rando store in Vegas with 8 machines, no coin machines. I'm thinking Insider connected with payment acceptor would have been awesome. Trumpatchy, thanks for being here. Totally agree. If they get to the point where Insider connected can actually be some sort of payment system, I mean, I do know some of these family fun centers already pay I forget exactly what it is, but there's already like a credit card type system or some sort of reader that you can put on pinball machines. And if they get to that, anything that can speed up the way that those machines can make money, they're gonna. I think that would be a big improvement. Insanity Falls is saying he's looked at the actual hardware. I mean, I've seen a few of the install videos, and the components that are in these Insider Connected kits are not. It's nothing crazy. So I understand $200 is it's hefty. Pretty sure there's
it's a fifth of a topper.
Yeah, and China just straight up stopped making that revision of board without saying anything.
Can you imagine?
That would be rough. Golden Tee has Golden Tee, Big Buck Hunter, but they have that. Yep. All right. Well, first off, everybody in chat, thank you for being here. We do have at the bottom user ideas. If there is specific, if you guys have something that you'd like us to discuss, feel free to throw it out. Otherwise, we're going to kind of roll through that list that we have here. But yeah, number 1, P3. There was a big announcement today that P3 Multimorphic apparently has signed, or they basically said welcome to the team. And it was Bowen Cairns and Colin McAlpine. P3 Multimorphic. Yeah. So those two people are incredibly good players, incredibly skilled players. Here we go. Let me change to this. So yeah, here was the announcement. So Bowen Cairns right here and Colin McAlpine. Colin McAlpine, I don't know what he's rated. I mean, he's like top 10. And
he's a former Pinburg winner.
And so is Bowen. No, Bowen's never played Pinburg, right? Like he.
I think back before he was a tournament director, he did, and he may have won it back then.
P3 protein packs. Kaz, I'm glad you listened to the
world class players. We'll call them.
They're both really good, and the reality is Bowen Cairns. He was a huge part of the rules in Alice Cooper's Nightmare Castle. So like Spooky had hired Bowen originally to do that. Bowen and Colin have full-time jobs. So yes, this is not their full-time job. This is just, I think they are, I don't know what that means. They just say welcomes 2 new team members. I don't know if this is like, hey, we're gonna give you a machine.
It could be contract,
or if it's contracted out. I don't know.
They're probably contracted to consult or develop rules on one or more games. Would be my guess.
Which I think can only help P3. Speaking of boards, Multimorphics is sitting pretty tight right now. Nobody realizes it. So P3 has not, as far as I know, has not increased the price of their game over the course of COVID, right? So the last 2-3 years,
not to my knowledge, Neri.
I don't think they've increased the price of their game. And if anybody's tried to do anything with a computer, I think you'd realize how incredibly hard it is to find graphics cards and how expensive they are. So I know for a fact there are components in a P3 that are more expensive than they were 3 years ago, for sure. But yet they're selling games. I know of like, I don't know, 3 different TPN people that have bought one in the last year.
Yeah, Jordan and Becca did for sure this year.
Yep. So yeah, they're not selling any. You don't think they're selling any? They are selling games for sure. They're back ordered for. Oh, okay. So I do know that manufacturing is delayed.
Yeah, he has a fair. I mean, yeah, I think Jerry said it's 3 months to put in an order to get any P3 from him.
Mm-hmm.
Not horrible.
Yeah,
it's not horrible.
If the new license,
no, I mean compared to the Stern wait list, it's not particularly shocking.
If you ordered a P3 today, if you called up Jerry or placed an email, you could buy it online. If you ordered one right now, and then you called up Zach at Flip N Out Pinball and said, "I want a Godzilla Pro," I'm pretty confident you'd get your P3 first. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But Zach's not. Is Zach a distributor for P3 anymore?
No, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
He stopped, right?
P3 even has any distributors.
They have before. I don't know if they currently do.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people buy through the distributor network because it's so easy to buy from the site.
Yeah, good point. Around 10K for P3, not much more than a Stern. You're right. Outlaw Pinball Bob, how you doing, buddy? 3 months is nothing. Been waiting since July. I know, JP. You've Bob. You've talked about that a long time. Can't call Zach to order P3. I mean, you can call him and tell him you want to order a P3, and he'll probably try to talk you out of it. but I don't know. I know Zach isn't in love with the P3. P3 is very hot or cold. Very, very hot or cold.
Yeah.
And most of the people that I hear negatives from are the high end players. So if Bowen and Colin can come in and make that a fun system, That'd be pretty great. Night, guys. Long drive tomorrow. Finish
Yeah.
up. Jaeger, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, I think it's a great move for them. Hopefully that kind of takes them to the next level, both in design and, some more accepted pinball rule sets and gets
Yeah, I
them,
mean, I think it's a good move for P3, but I don't know if it's a system moving move, if that makes sense. As respected of players as I think Colin and Bowen are, and as respected as I think Bowen's rule set was for Alice Cooper, neither of them have the reputation, as far as I am aware, for being. They're not a lineman. Their name doesn't move systems, so it doesn't do that. I think it does feed to what Joel's brought up though about that could make the system more attractive, or the games, because let's face it, they're not going back, I'm assuming, and like changing all the rules to all the past games. I don't know if they're going to do like George Lucas special edition stuff on their old games or not. I get a little concerned at the notion of that. The thing is, I don't know how, like tournament wise, how good or bad their games fare. I have never encountered a P3 in a tournament.
No.
I've only ever heard of Lexi being in one, and I heard it was a disaster. Like everyone was upset. And I don't know if the game was a problem, like physically, or the rules had exploits and they were pissed about the exploits. I don't know, because I wasn't there. I don't really care. So I'm not sure that I still remain in the camp that P3's problem is they need to get the licensed title out, and that will move more units than anything else it could possibly do.
100%.
Ideally, with it being a good game.
Yeah.
And Heist is a good game. It's just, if it had been Ocean's 11, that would have moved far more units than Heist is able to move.
100%.
That's my theory on it.
We discussed this on Triple Drain, which just came out a few days ago, and all we can think of is, I think P3, the smart thing would be is, my thought was, let's say, I don't know, I have no idea if this number's high or low, but let's say there's 100 P3s out there right now. The chances of when they release this next game, if this next game is going to be a licensed game, Scott Denisi's doing the music, and then now we know that Bowen and Colin McAlpine's going to be involved in rules. If we know, I mean, it's already building to be probably potentially already better than everything they've made before. So let's say there's 100 P3 owners out there. Out of 100, how many people are going to buy this game? Probably all 100. Probably every single one. So in my mind, I would assume if P3 is going to try to figure out what's the demand going to be for this, they need to be able to manufacture at least as many like modules as they already have sold units. Yet alone, this could be, if it's a good theme, there could be people that buy in. So what does Jerry want to do? I don't know. I don't know if they're like just stocking up for this release, and that's the delay. They want to make sure that they really have parts ready for this, or if there's actually a delay with the license or what. But I would hope, I mean, it would suck if they announce this tomorrow and they can make 20. There's going to be a ton of people waiting. Or what do you who would you prioritize, right? I mean, if they can make 20, do you prioritize the 20 units, the people that buy the P3 system, the full system for this new game, or do you prioritize, your fan base, the people that have owned your system for the last few years? Which is more important, growing your audience or treating the P3 fanboys right? I don't know.
It's who I don't know. They'll be until we see it. We've never seen a game yet that like caused them to have to really stress about that decision. Like, oh, whoa, no, we're selling so many. It's kind of like what reminds me of is when Jersey Jack released Guns N' Roses, and you could tell they were shocked at how quickly the collector's editions were moving, well above their expectations, because it exceeded everything else they had done since WoS. And P3's never been in that boat. So I don't know what you do. I mean, my thought is, with the current state of production, it might be as simple as they can build the modules easier than they can throw together the entire system. But on the other hand, if the system is like, he's got plenty of P3 Rock boards, and it's just dropping in 1080p monitors, and they've got a stockpile of those back from 2018. A lot of that tech stuff has gone down in price because it's old.
Good point.
That's the difference between that and pinball.
Good point.
Physical, more physical pinball, I should say.
But I've pointed this out before. I mean, the challenge is if you're going to buy in, and I see Mervin here, Methadone, the needle's moved a bit closer. I mean, the fact that P3 hasn't increased their price, and every other machine, every other manufacturer's, the price is going up and up and up and up. Now, all of a sudden, $10,000 for a P3 is not nearly as absurd as it used to be.
Yep.
And then you throw on top of that, these are their deals. You buy a P3 with one play field, you're looking at $10,895. You throw in a second play field, it's only roughly $2,000 more. You throw in a third play field, and now you're looking at what is it? A little over $4,000 more. But if you look at each individual game kits, the game kits range from like $2,500 to $2,500, $2,700. I mean, a few of them are cheaper, but some of these, I mean, that's not a bad gig. You can really jump in if you really want to. And then Insanity Falls,
as long as those specific games are what you want.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's say the new license is great. To throw in Heist is probably not a bad idea, you know?
I would. If I loved the new game, then Heist would definitely be because it's, in my view, it's the strongest of the modules.
I agree. Insanity Falls has pointed out that Multimorphic obviously does more than the P3. They're also producing all of the P-Rock boards. And he pointed out there's a lot of other systems that use P-Rock. But I do know a lot of those other systems, like Spooky, just moved. So all previous Spooky games were on the P-Rock board until now. Well, what was not the original ones, right? Like I know TNA was P-Rock.
They went to
Alice
P3 Rock as of TNA.
And Alice Cooper's, right?
So TNA, then Alice Cooper and Rick and Morty.
Okay, so those three
use Multimorphic's equipment, and then they went Penitar for whatever this new game is.
Halloween and
Halloween,
Ultraman is
all.
blank.
Sorry, and then they used the Pinheck board set.
Yeah.
For Jetsons, America's Most Haunted, Rob Zombie, Dominoes.
Got it. Yeah. So I was just fiddling with Lebowski. Like they were using P-Rock. I know American Pinball was using P-Rock, but I think didn't they just announce that American Pinball's changing?
They do intend to change because Aimtron is a board maker. I don't know if they've done that yet, though.
Got it. So that
why are so many people getting away from the P-Rock though?
Why pay a third party more money when you can do it yourself?
You make it yourself.
Okay.
Bob, my main issue with P3 is it still doesn't feel like a completely analog pinball machine, and that's why I like pinball. It's not a V. I understand, and that's something people either look past that or they can't. And I get that.
Beast.
That bottom half, almost 2/3 of the play field, physically feels the same every single game. But can you look past that, you know, and experience the crane, or can you experience the art or the fact that the ball's tracking? I don't know. Some people can and don't have any problem doing that, and other people just they struggle when a normal pinball machine has too much open area in the bottom half of a play field. So I get what you're saying. Thoughts on this art? This is something they announced like 2 weeks ago. This pinball machine core art. Either of you guys have an opinion on this art package at all?
It's fine. I don't know who would buy it.
Personally, I would take, if I was going to buy a P3 right now, to me, I don't want to buy a P3 and have it dedicated to one game. I would keep it with this type of generic art because I look at the P3 and the main point of the P3 is to swap it out, right? So I don't want Heist art on my game because I'm not always playing Heist. That's my opinion. But
it's a magnet too, right? So it's easy to peel on and peel off, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Albany Pinball, Americans still using P-Rock. Yeah, well, Legends of Valhalla, I think, was originally coded on P-Rock, so that would make sense.
Yeah, I would just take the P3 and I'd put it in between two of my other games, and that would be my solution.
Yep.
What the heck is Dennis doing here? He must love Joel and Craig because the Chiefs are on. Yeah, so Zach's here in chat. Dennis actually told us right before that he forgot that the Chiefs are on. Yeah. So I think he's multitasking. If you need to take a break and celebrate, you know, every touchdown, go ahead. You know, you do.
Yeah, they're still losing right now, but they're very close. So don't worry, I'm okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I just because they just played Sunday, I just put it off. They're gonna play next Sunday. Nope, I was wrong. It was today.
Yeah.
Oh well. Mistakes were made.
Trumpatchy, the rollover aspects of the lower. I mean, there are some really cool things about the lower half of the P3 machine, and the fact that, you know, your scores down there, everything's down there is pretty sick. There is actually, I wish I had it pulled up. There's actually a link on Pinside where there's a guy that he's selling a mod where he took a 5-inch screen and he's obviously splitting off the display from a stern, and he's putting this 5-inch screen down in the play field, in your apron. So right at the very base of your apron, there's this 5-inch monitor, and he's selling this as like a $200 mod if you want to add that to your game. So if you don't want to have to look up when you're playing pinball, there are ways to do it even with other machines. But I don't know.
So you have to buy a whole new apron to fit that, or where does it go?
Well, apparently premium and LE games, the apron, I did not know this, but the apron is further away. It's like thinner. It's further away from the glass. He's saying the apron on a plastic game, that screen would be too close to so he's basically saying he should, if you did that, if you wanted it on your Pro, you would either have to like cut a hole in your plastic apron and put it under it, or you should buy a metal apron from somewhere and swap out your aprons. Pirates had that from factory. Trumpachi, yes, they did have the compass to tell you where to look, but it wasn't they didn't, unless Pirates now has a way that you can swap out the compass to look at your score. But being able to do that is pretty cool. But I don't know. $200, yeah, it's a lot of money. Yeah, I saw that. It's called HHD. That's what it's called. Head down display. Let me Google that real quick. Thank you, Bob. Head down display. I'll pull it up if I can find it. If somebody knows.
Pinbar Light, maybe.
Head down display.
I miss Deep Root.
If there's a way. No, I am just Googling at this point. You're right. I know that's what it's called, Bob, but I cannot find it. I wish somebody could send a link if they have it. It's a cool idea. I do like it. Oh, Bob, so you can't post links. Never mind. Do you know what the title is? Just to post the title of it. When are we going to see some Godzilla accessories? Oh, good point, Zach. Is that like a prompt? Like, oh, when are we going to be able to buy Godzilla accessories? And then flipping out here in chat goes, right now, buy. You can buy. Yeah. Introducing Pinside. There we go. Thank you, Bob. Introducing.
Insight HDD.
Pinsight HDD. There it is. All right. Let me, here we go. All right. We found it. I've got nothing. Zach's got nothing.
He's holding out on us.
All right. So here it is. Here's what we saw. So if we look at these pictures, this is the whole thing. See down here in the apron? Right there. You got this little monitor. And so he's splitting off the graphics from the upper monitor and wiring it down, which is what we do for streamers. We use these boards to grab that. It creates an HDMI signal, but he must have some other wiring harness in here to pull power. But he's like, I mean, here he has it on all of his games. So it's like a little 5-inch monitor. So I don't know.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I like it. Just like JJP. Exactly. Wow, that looks great. So it's not bad. I mean, it does feel like it's just a monitor that's set in there. I don't know, because you can see it's literally just set on top of the artwork, unless you put like a magnet or something on the back. Yeah, you're kidding me. $200 is what he's saying, selling it for. So I know that the LVDS board that we use in streaming is like $35. So that's $35. He probably has an HDMI cable in there, and then he's got to be pulling power for this display from something. And then the monitor itself.
On these spike systems, is there not a service outlet near the coin door anymore?
I
think there is. I think there is. Yep.
I think he said it keeps it in place with a magnet. Okay, but realistically, max there's probably $100 worth of parts in here. This is a cool one. I don't know exactly how he did it, but over here in the Elvira, he was able to mount it. I think this is where like the piece of the couch was. I don't know. But you need if you could easily swap between games. I mean, if it's held on with a magnet, Mervin, you probably could swap. I think the service outlet is now in the head. Oh, you are right. The service outlet's all the way back. Yeah. So, I'm pretty sure it's straight LVDS. So he's not even. Oh, good point. So he's grabbing the LVDS signal from the actual node board, main node board, and if this displays also LVDS, then he doesn't even have to convert it. So then everything just got even cheaper. Oh my! I still love your name, by the way. Where's the pin bar? Hey, Rob is here. Top rope. I don't know. It's not $200 worth of parts, but I get it. I mean, it's a pinball hobby. There's plenty of mods that people have $2 worth of filament that they printed on a 3D printer and painted it. But, I mean, it takes time to assemble them. So, I don't know. Thoughts on that? I mean, I'm just even in chat, I'm seeing some mixed reviews.
Yeah,
Dennis, you don't have a... well, Craig, you do. Would you consider getting something like this for your Avengers? Do you feel like it's hard
ultimately,
to look up?
I don't think so. I think there's other mods I would get first before this for that kind of price. I'd entertain, upgrading the speakers, maybe a shaker motor.
You got to get the shaker motor, man.
Something that's gonna add a little bit. I don't find that to look up. I mean, a couple of times it's got me, but that was kind of like early in my experience with the game where I was really, trying to look at the cause and effect of what I was doing on the board, so I'd hit something and I'd be really, anxious to see what effect that had on the back glass, but or on the LCD. But yeah, these days I find that I'm struggling to, keep my head down or something like that. Or I'm looking up at the wrong time or something like that,
Yeah, there's never a good time to look up. But Dennis, you don't like shakers? That's what I'm reading in chat.
I have a few.
Yeah, it's a great mod. Yeah, I mean, if you look at this guy's games, he's got like all the mods. So, Art Blades, he's got Pin Stadium and all these, and I'm pretty sure all of these games that he's showing pictures of are LEs. So, I think the creator of this mod has no problem spending money. Here's his toes right there, if anybody's into that. We got some toes.
But it's interesting. I mean,
out.
it looks clean, which is a good thing. I'm assuming it's not that difficult to get it all, tucked in there. But
I don't know, because I don't know on a metal apron if there's a hole on the other side. I would hate the wires to be going up this way and then through it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not a fan of this, by the way. This guy's flipper overs. He has a purple one on the left and an orange one on the right. I don't agree with that at all, but that just looks weird. Hot take: shaker motors make games worse. Do not agree. I am a huge fan of the shaker motor. Love it. I would think it depends a lot on the title. With good callouts and audio cues, I don't feel much need to look at display. Good point. Good point. Good point. Go to great lengths to stop my game shaking when I. Oh, I see. Yeah, Travis, the guys I do triple during with, Travis and Tom both are totally against shaker motors.
They don't like them
because they're like, it's gonna make me tilt.
Too distracting.
Yeah. You guys talk about the Godzilla 0.8 code yet? No, I haven't. That's a great. I know Dennis Kriesel loves nothing more than talking about code updates. So strap in, Dennis.
I'm sure it'll be something really important to the 3 people on this chat who have the game. So go ahead.
You play Godzilla though. I mean, do you not care at all?
The code will change probably by the time I play it again. So no, I don't care.
All right. Well, guess what? We're reading it anyways.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All I care about is what's new. That's all I care about.
First 3 lines.
Yeah, skill shots. So new movies, new secret skill shot, new super secret skill shot. That's good.
Whoa.
Fix an issue. Power line. There's now a micro wizard mode. Interesting choice of word. Micro wizard mode when you complete Tesla Strike. Okay,
I think
like
that used to be referred to as a mode.
Well, micro wizard mode when you tanks is completed. When you complete tank multi-ball in a city. Wow, okay. Micro wizard mode when you complete bridge attack wizard mode. So these are all unique. Okay, what is this? Godzilla Wallop. This is new. Dennis, I know you're loving it. Nothing better than watching somebody read a text file.
Is this on the Pro?
This is the premium, but I would assume...
Okay.
Godzilla Wallop. Adding this rule will give awards to reverse shots through the building. Shoot during modes for helping spot a shot. Okay, so this is actually, I like this because this is a thing, and I would assume anybody that's played this right here. So this is the main building shot. You go through the middle, and it goes whoop. It just spits out on the left side. This left side is a hard shot. This is a hard shot. It's tight, and I don't think it's actually meant to be like this shot is never picked in a mode. You can see there's no insert in front of it. It's you're never supposed to shoot this shot. The problem is you do hit that shot. And when you hit this shot, it goes whipping right through the building and comes back at you down the middle. So it's actually kind of a wizard or a tough shot. Not only is it tough, okay, it gives a reward for the death shot. Trumpancy knows it is a dangerous shot. So the fact that now they're calling it the Godzilla Wallop, adding this rule will give awards for reverse shots through the building. Shoot during modes to help spotting a shot. That's
as a consolation. Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Adding a ball save for this shot for a limited amount of uses. That's also not a bad idea. So Hot Nudge said they added a ball save timer. Exactly. Yep. 1,000,000 points when the motor's running and no shots were spotted. Okay, so I'm cool with that because that was a shot that when I was streaming, I would hit that thing and be screwed. And you get 2 ball saves for straight down. That's awesome. Normal wizard mode, but they call it a micro because it's the microscopic under the. Oh, gotcha. Godzilla Wallop. All right.
They did that with Avengers too. Like when you go up into the Iron Man tower, sometimes they give you an extended ball save when that ball comes down.
That's nice.
Because depending on what's going on in the game, it can be, you don't necessarily have that. If you just let it go through that upper flipper, sometimes it can drain pretty quickly on you straight down. So anyway.
What about this right here? Saucer attack multi-ball. Flippers are now killed. When pop bumper is hit to start the multi-ball, all balls will launch after the intro display. I'm a fan of this. Anytime that a game kills your flippers, I'm a fan. Do you guys like that? I think it creates a moment.
Yeah.
Dennis can barely contain his
kill it all.
His joy. Do you like moments in pinball, Dennis? Do you care about? Are you a moment maker, moment chaser, whatever that Zach's all about?
I experience that moment every time my last ball drains.
When your flippers die, yeah. Did you buy the TPN Moment Maker shirt, Dennis? Is that?
I did not.
No. How's that Tri-Blend flipping out T-shirt treating you, by the way?
Oh,
my Hulk one's already got the image coming up because that's what happens when you deviate from cotton.
I love how different you and Zach feel on Tri-Blend. I mean, you guys are completely on the
It is soft. I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
Super comfortable. I don't even feel like I'm wearing a shirt right now.
Yeah. Screw code updates. I want to know Kriesel's grade on Craig Bobbie's co-hosting this week on the Pinball Show. Good question, Zach. Dennis, do you have any criticism or critique on Craig's?
It is about a B+. Yeah.
B+.
Sort of like he reminds me of a Canadian Greg Bone. Not quite as much of a yes man as Greg, but most of the way there.
All right. Tremendous bomb. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that.
I strongly disagree. I strongly disagree.
No, you do not. I did enjoy your I was wronged by Rush story though. That was
pretty great. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I tore a sheet of paper off and he was mad at me.
Yeah,
he told me,
"You're not
go
sorry.
Away. You're not a girl."
Oh,
loser.
Man.
Right. You're not sorry.
You're not sorry. All right, I'm not. Is there anything else
is burned into my psyche forever?
It seems like some of the people in chat have read this in detail. Is there anything else I'm missing here? DJ Mixer, calm down, Dennis. I know DJ Mixer. That's probably one of your you're a big fan of that. Just nothing better than making your pinball machine a jukebox, right?
I mean, people like that stuff. I would just put on an MP3, but
yeah.
Turn the volume down.
Fairly useless, I'm going to call it.
So at the end of the day,
you already hear that stuff enough when you're playing a game. Like, why on earth would anybody want to hear it?
I've never met anyone who was just like, "Gosh, I sure wish I could hear my game more."
Never.
But they may be out there. The truth.
If anything, I'm trying to drone it out with my own music, just because of that.
That's Dindin's nickname on the weekends. DJ
Mixer. That was why all those pinball streamers got worked up about all Twitch and the crackdown on DMCA is because everyone was violating copyright left and right because they were sick of hearing the games.
I mean, like when I had Led Zeppelin, that was a game that I didn't mind, but I would still, if I wanted to listen to Led Zeppelin, I'm not going to go down and turn on the pinball machine and turn on DJ Mixer. Ray Day. Okay. Ray Day's got a point. Raymond comes in here, stern coder, and defends it. That is a valid point. Deadpool does actually have some good songs. I'll give you that.
That's the only thing in Led Zeppelin, though.
Yeah,
is the sound.
well,
Joel,
Ray Day. No,
back to your statement.
Ray Day saying Deadpool. Ray Day.
Deadpool. Well, it's got that fun disco multi-ball. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got here? So P3 new hires. I think that's pretty cool. Good on them. Good on them.
are we still on that topic? I forgot.
Well, we're closing it up. So Pinball Industry Awards. This
is why Triple Drain, by the way, is 2 hours every episode, regardless.
Because we're just
can't
winging
move
it
on from topics.
I will tell you,
Tom holding them back.
I will tell you, I try hard to keep it going, but Travis can go. Like he can. Right when I think a topic's about done, Travis can just like dive into it. So and then Tom, he sprinkles in his color commentary. It's great.
He talks, yeah.
Yeah, he's great. What do we got? Deadpool's life. Yeah, you're right. Bobbie with the zinger. So yeah. Pinball Industry Awards. So what did they announce? They announced that we are doing it this year. I say we. I am not involved. And I'm okay with that. I know Zach's
I'm not involved either.
Yeah.
I put my name in. No one called me.
I blame David for that.
Right.
Well, Joel definitely wasn't getting in, given the kind of unilateral authority we've given to David Dennis on organizing the team this year.
You've given him way too much power. Way too much power.
He's like,
well,
I'll be the only Canadian on this board.
For those sort of efforts,
Mike is on
really comes down to who's willing to do the work, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So every time we start doing it, I'm like, why are we doing this?
Can I still vote in the Pinball Industry Awards? Yes. So they changed that. So before, I remember last year, we
had a ban on cause, flat out.
Before, we put together a committee, and the committee did all the nominations. It was a group of, I forget how many people were on that call, like 12 people nominated everybody.
I think we ended up with 12 on for the Excellence Awards.
Yeah,
those were the hobbyists, podcast, writer, photographer, things like that.
Do you need a pin number to vote? Yes. But this year they're changing it. So this year we're some more judges. So this year we're opening up the judging pool to additional pinball hobbyist personalities to give more people the opportunity to judge. So anybody that's a pinball social media provider, tournament organizers, top 50 ranked player overall, and women can join podcaster, streamer, video content creators, and writers. So that's great. I hope. Do you remember, Dennis, how many? It was like 100 something people voted, right?
I think 40, actually, just 40.
Wow. I thought it was more than that, but it was still a decent turnout.
We were really pleased with how many we thought. I was hoping we would get half that. I was hoping if we could at least get 20. I had two goals, was to pass that 20 mark. So I was real happy when we passed 30, and I wanted a majority of them to not be in TPN.
Yes.
Because the whole thing at the time was, this is, this is pinball, so everyone craps on everything that's new.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, this is all about people giving themselves their own awards and stuff. And so to me, for the category awards, it was really important to try and get a lot of non-TPN people involved. I actually did a lot of outreach to other groups, other, media creators, to see if they would do it. And a lot of them agreed. So
good point.
The biggest hurdle we had last year was so many people didn't want to vote. And many times they cited the fact that because of the pandemic, they hadn't played so many of the games. They were just uncomfortable taking a ballot outright. So I'm hoping that's not nearly the same problem this year.
Well, I mean, if it's the same, we kind of discussed this on Triple Drain or last time we talked Whippy Awards, but it's just like, what games are you actually voting on? It's just, I would assume you have Led Zeppelin, you have Mando, you have Godzilla. Those are the three Sterns. You have Halloween and Ultraman, Legends of Valhalla. I think that's it.
When we got the three P3 releases.
Oh, well, they didn't release any new modules, right? Because Heist was the year prior.
It's about games, not modules.
Gotcha. So you have Sorcerer's Apprentice, Silver Falls, and
Scoot and Shoot.
Scoot and Shoot's taking it all. So
and Halloween and Ultraman are treated as separate games as well.
Gotcha. Okay. How is Cactus Canyon remake being handled? Good question.
We weren't aware of. I'm trying to actually. I'd have to check. I'm sorry. I can't remember if that's in or we didn't think they shipped any out by December 1st. I don't remember.
I don't know if any consumer's gotten it. Technically,
I
they
think we
shipped them
left it
to
out. I think we
locations.
said it'll have to be in next year's ballot.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hmm. What does it say? What do they mean by these judges will vote in a, oh no, sorry. The PIA judges will now vote via write-in for the Excellence Awards. What do they mean by
Yeah,
that?
so that's the big change. So last year there were 3 different award types and there were 3 different processes for each. There was the Hall of Fame, which that was what had over 100 voters for
Okay.
the game.
That's what it
And
was.
that's
That's
going to be
yeah.
exactly like it was. That's the one thing that's open to a popular vote. Then we had the category awards, which are the awards for the games, and that was the panelists of pinball media. And this time, that panel is expanded to be more informed hobbyist, I guess would be a good way to describe it. So that's why we're adding the tournament aspects, because that was a feedback thing we got from last go is, hey, you know, there are a lot of people who organize or participate in tournaments who would know these games. The idea is we want an audience that knows the games. We don't want people asking mailmen to go and vote for them
Yeah.
and having no knowledge about pinball whatsoever. So we're using these things like being a podcaster or being a high level tournament player as proxies for knowledge. And then last year we had that team of 12 TPN people that chose the Excellence Awards. This time, those Excellence Awards are just write-in boxes for the category award judges.
Got it.
So TPN's not going to decide those anymore. It's going to be the same judges as the game awards.
Yeah, and that was hard because as a member of TPN, we kind of made a rule of like, let's not nominate any TPN
Award
people.
ourselves,
You know,
yeah,
like we don't want this to be TPN makes awards for TPN. So I'm all for more people and just write it in. Then there's no pressure discussion, anything like that. This was I totally forgot about this. This was the Hall of Fame. So anybody had the ability to write this. Is Celts on the ballot?
I think it was on last year's
yeah,
ballot. It is
was-
not on
yeah.
this year's ballot.
Why isn't the world's #1 pinball podcaster helping? #1 pinball podcaster? Who would that be?
Zach?
I think it's Tom Graff is what I'm thinking.
Only
Dennis is
all planning for like building the voting tools and stuff is all internal to TPN, but the votes will come from outside and in if you qualify.
So this was pretty cool because last year we nominated a game per every 10 years. And so these were the games that won. We had one electromechanical Grand Prix. That was kind of expected. But you got Meteor in the 70s, 8-Ball Deluxe in the 80s, Medieval Madness in the 90s, Lord of the Rings 2000, and Wizard of Oz 2010. So now we technically need a 2020s, right? Do you think?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. We didn't actually have any discussion about any reforms to that, so I'd have to check with. Last year, I think David built the ballot tool for that, and it was Jesse J from Jesse J's Pinball that really worked on getting that list created. So most of the list will just be carried over, other than the actually I think Zach in chat would be correct. We probably wouldn't vote on the 2020s until we finish the whole decade out.
Yeah.
So all that really has to happen is from last year. We just have to delete the ones that already won, so you can't pick them again.
Yeah,
because they were drop-down lists, except for the EMs. I think we did a write-in for EMs because ain't no one got time for that.
Yeah. Good question. Does Nordman and Dennis have different votes?
I don't think Nordman will qualify for a ballot.
Nordman qualify. All right, that's a sad day, but
well,
so yeah.
If you're in the industry, you're disqualified, and he is the canary of the industry. So.
That's right. So if you work for a manufacturer, you cannot vote. Yep.
Correct.
It makes sense. So yeah, it was. I remember it was a great award show last year. I think it was a lot of fun. I personally was involved. Dennis was highly involved in it. Craig, did you? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on that 12-person committee.
That's
I
right.
think.
Yeah. I feel like that was one of the first calls that we had together, but it was a good time. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good time. It says come January, right? Has there been a date set, or is this the?
Well, the way we're currently planning it is there will not be a ceremony like we did last time.
Okay.
Aha. You're just gonna like publish it?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. We've discussed some strategies on how to do it through social media with some like announcement things that we could roll out over multiple days.
Got it.
And just kind of be like that and not have it be the ceremony at all, because Last year we had Zach and Greg do the ceremony hosting, and it's a lot of work, and that's not happening this year. And no one else felt capable
Nobody else is
of
gonna do
doing it
that.
like that. So we
Yeah.
thought, well, what
Yeah.
are some other ways? Because we want to make it be about the awards anyway. It's not about the night, and we're not, because we still wanted to do it in January. It's like, unless you're doing the online ceremony, there's no other option. There's not like a show we could do it at or anything live.
Yeah.
So that was just, it was a decision that we reached as a, okay, we're going to move forward, and what can we sacrifice and still give the awards, still do the crystals. And that was the piece that no one was comfortable replacing them on. So
Mm-hmm.
Nobody
Probably the
else
piece
wanted.
too that's the most work. I mean, well, I don't know about the most, but it's right up there.
Yeah.
I mean,
50%.
I just based off of what Zach said for the editing and the stress of all of that,
Yeah.
it could very well be. I don't know. I just finished a couple days ago building the judges ballot this year. I have over 80 pieces of skip logic. I think it took me 5 hours to develop. So, but I still think the putting together the show would probably beat me out on time.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe still get some acceptance video. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. If reach out to the people so when they now have an acceptance clip of some sort would be cool.
We
Put it on the
discussed
content. Yeah, put it on the content
We talked
creators
a lot
to-
about a lot of different ways to do it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Trim the fat and let Greg do it solo. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, not a bad idea there. But yeah, all good stuff. Looking forward to it. Any idea when? I mean, January's like, that's a few weeks away.
Probably like the announcements of the winners, you mean? That'll probably be last week of January. The window for applying for ballots will be pretty short. It was short last year too. I think it was like 7 to 10 days or something.
Okay.
And then at the start of the year, the ballots would be sent out. And because of the process we use where everyone applies says they want to be a judge, we vet that per our rules, and then we can send custom links for the voting so we can control the voting. We know there's not any shenanigans going on with bot votes or people voting multiple times and things. So
Yeah.
it's really very structured in that regard. So tallying and all of that's really easy for us once we get the ballot. That's why I do all the skip logic up front. So the idea will be that will happen in the early part of January. Then once we know the winners of that, obviously the committee that's overseeing the awards will have to tally up the excellence handwritten stuff, figure out those winners. Everything else will be auto tallied by SurveyMonkey basically. And then we have to put together the announcement clips and stuff because we're leaning towards doing like a video strategy for that. It's just not going to be a ceremony in the traditional sense.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. I mean, I remember it was really good. Zach did a great job on it last year, but I have faith in that committee. So the committee, it's Rebecca from Fliptronic, George Fisher, that's Don't Panic Flip, David Dennis, Amanda Hamilton, she does the Free Play Pinball podcast, Dennis Kriesel, boom, one the only, and Mike Castleman, he's from Pinballers. So they got 2 Canadians on the ballot.
Oh, for God's
fitting
sakes.
fitting a third one on there, Craig. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
Whew, that's a lot. Yeah.
Pushing it.
So yeah, awesome. Is there anything else, Dennis, you wanted to say about the PIAs?
No. I mean, what people hate, let us know afterwards, and we can look about making improvements the following year. It's it's a learning process.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing I've always wanted to emphasize with it is that it's not meant to compete with the Twippies. The Twippies are a different thing entirely as far as I'm concerned. And I think that's even more clear now than it was before, given the structure. The biggest thing we got, I thought it came off really well last year. And ultimately, once we were done with it, pretty well received. I just think some people were kind of sad that they didn't get to vote. And it's like, well, we have these conditions because we want to take these hobbyists, as we're using the term hobbyists rather than media now, or personalities, because we've expanded so much beyond pinball media in and of itself. But the idea is these are individuals that are so vested in the hobby. In theory, they should know stuff about all the games. And you just don't get that in any sort of People's Choice Award. Movies, books, video games, all of them. So that's why we do it this way, is just to see if we get different results. And in fact, I heard from someone today asking me when we were doing these, because it's not TWIP. Someone else is planning some pinball ceremony stuff and awards in February.
Oh, wow.
And I said, let me know when you have that stuff set, because I'll promote it, like out on Eclectic Gamers and stuff. I'm more than happy to. The more shows, the better. As far as I'm concerned, more awards, the better. So
Were
there's
those the
so
reach
many
arounds?
different.
The reach
No,
arounds?
no, this was a non-TP. This was a non-TPN thing.
It wasn't the
So,
reach around. Yeah, reach arounds
no,
they're
I'm hoping the reach arounds happen again, but I have not.
Yeah.
Jeff didn't ask me for anything with it last time, and I'm assuming he probably won't this time because what would I bring to the table? Nothing. So,
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was so well received. I would think it would happen.
Yeah, that was.
Though apparently some people actually thought that it was serious. So you never. It's
Yeah.
pinball. You never get
Yeah.
universal reception to anything.
Yeah, good
Some of
point.
y'all don't have any senses of humor.
Good point. Humor. It's kind of like rumor. Hasn't that's such a good transition? I'm pretty embarrassed of that. That was terrible. Rumors. Oh yeah, that's right.
There
Craig,
it is right
Craig
there.
got his reach around. Did you buy that one,
Now
or
let me
what
why
did you
is
win
this
it
thing
for?
focusing?
Give it a try. What did you bought that, right? That was one of that you could pay for.
I'll never tell. This was hard earned. God damn it.
Zach, is Canada getting a kudos awards? I have no idea what they're doing. Dennis, she should
That
exit the
sits
stream.
proudly right behining my monitor.
Hey, Dennis, if this is rough, we can.
It's for what's been going on. It's for the my heart can only take so much, and I'm just seeing these turnover and then another turnover. Anyway, I don't want to talk.
It's probably
about it
best. It's probably best you're not.
I actually do get too anxious sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is silly, but
so
I'm getting too old for my heart to take that sort of stuff now.
That is my dad in basketball, and my dad, Purdue college basketball is like his favorite. He's so passionate about it, and I realized watching a basketball game, it's constant. Like there's no, at least with football, a play happens and you take a breath. Play happens, you take a breath. Like basketball, it's just go, and it's. It's like first quarter and I'm already anxious. I can't do this for the whole first half. I cannot watch a whole game. And my dad will not watch basketball live. Purdue basketball, he will not watch it on the TV live. The only way he watches it live is if he's there in person. And my parents, if you ever go to a Purdue basketball game, they buy tickets. They have season tickets on the very top row. And it's so that my dad can stand. He stands the entire game. Because he can't sit. So if you go to a Purdue basketball game and you look at, if you're there, just scan the top row all the way around and you will see a guy standing up like this the whole time. He's either doing this or this the whole freaking game. That would be my dad. Go say, hey, Jim, your son's an idiot. Just lead with that and he'll figure it out. My award is being able to podcast with Dennis Kriesel every week. No trophy could make me more complete as a man.
Wow,
yeah. Speaking of Dennis and Zach, Dennis, I am curious. The 2 watches that you gave Zach, I saw your repair video on his watch. What type of watch? I want to pull up a picture. What was the type of watch that you got for Nicole?
The brand is a defunct brand called R.A. Kenyon. Back pre-Quartz, there were a lot of brands like that would get third-party movements, and so they didn't have to develop the hardware behind the watch. They would design the dial and get them put together, and R.A. Kenyon was one of those. So they used a Berman watch, which was a Swiss movement maker from the 30s until 1969. I think they went out of business.
R.A. So what can I search to
pull
find
that up
watch?
there, Joel?
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't find much info on the company itself, so about the only thing is if you search YouTube, you'll probably see my video.
You did make a video of it.
I'm not aware of any other repair video of one of those on YouTube, but I didn't look too closely because what I do is when I disassemble, I actually film it. Any watch I do, I film it, even if I'm not going to put it online, and that's what I use as my guide in case I get stuck putting it back together.
Don't panic, George is here. Is Dennis threatening to leave TPS? Is that why Flip N Out is showering him with excessive love here? And on the last podcast with Craig Bobbie? Yeah. I don't know. Dennis, when's your contract up on
Yeah, well, I'm coming up on the second year one because we started up in February, so that's sort of the reset period in my mind.
Mm-hmm. The rider's getting way longer on this one.
Yeah, well,
So things have
grown.
This watch right here, this is the one that you gave Zach, right? This is
Nicole.
This is Nicole's watch. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty.
It's beautiful.
I like I like the. I don't know. I was gonna say numbers, but there's got to be a technical term for that.
Yeah. They're the numerals.
The numerals, okay. So that was what you got, Nicole. So what did you get for Zach?
He got him a Hamilton Pilot Pioneer chronograph.
Do you have a video on that or no?
No, because that one was professionally serviced.
Hamilton.
I didn't do it.
What was it?
That one should show up, I would think.
What am I searching here?
Hamilton, is it? Would you
Pilot
say
Pioneer Chrono? Yeah. I think
Pilot
it's got a really
Pioneer.
long name. And no, Chris, I've not seen any good vampire pins since Stern Electronics Dracula.
Which one of these? Because apparently there's a ton of them.
You see the top row? You've got
this up here.
7 from the left, I think. No,
This thing?
higher up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. That's it.
Got it. Ooh. Well, look at that.
Yeah, no, that's a classic Hamilton for sure. But it's the chrono, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, no, that what he ended up loading isn't the right one. That's a field watch.
How did
Yeah,
I
it's
not,
the one above it there, Joel. Like, well,
apparently I can't count to
similar.
7.
There'll be other dials on it, right, Dennis, on the face?
Yeah, they're called subdials, and there are 2. It was a prior screen. You've clicked and you've gone into a different screen. You didn't do the right left. I meant the left of the photos.
This one.
Ah, damn it, Joel.
So now go down a row, straight down with your mouse.
Right here?
That's it.
This is the one. I'm going to
The
click
one
on
with
it.
the green. No, yeah.
I'm going to click on it. Okay. Woo!
Sorry, I keep looking at the Twitch feed and I forget that there's the lag.
Yeah. Oh, this is neat. So the date, but it's like at an angle. I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's at the 4:30. Yeah.
The 4:30. This is, God, I'm learning so much. That's a normal
Is
spot
it a
to
white
put
face like that though, Dennis? Or is
It
it black?
this photo. No, it's they make a black one,
Yeah.
but the one I got him was the champagne dial.
Was it? Nice.
Yeah. Very cool.
Leather strap, or did you go with the?
No, it's like
leather
that.
strap?
It's a NATO. It's
Is it? Yeah.
a nylon NATO.
Nice. It's kind of like, military, right? That's kind of what it's inspired from.
Yeah,
isn't
well,
it?
yeah, that's probably why they call it the Pilot Pioneer.
Yeah.
It's based on a flight watch. The layout of those numerals is very like Allied World War II style.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't have chronos back then. But
Rilla Pinball. Dennis, what are your thoughts on Watch Gang subscription services? What is that?
I wouldn't do any subscription service. It's better to save money and buy a watch you want.
All right. Saul Hudson, do mine. Google Apple Watch Series 3. All right. Okay. Do you have a watch that keeps Swatch internet time? What? Check your phone.
I don't know what Swatch internet time is. I do have one that syncs to the atomic clock, though. I have a G-Shock, so does that. Casio.
Oh, this is cool. This is what so Zach just sent me this. So that's what that was your package. Those are nice. That's a very
Beautiful
well
boxes.
done. Well, very thoughtful. That's a great gift. That's a great gift. Letters to Santa. Hopefully
But you
Zach
also,
has
it
written his
wasn't just
already.
that you found those, right, Dennis? Like on Nicole's, you actually serviced it yourself, didn't
Right.
you?
That
And
the Hamilton was a watch that I bought at one point, and it was too big for me. So it's sort of like, okay, well, let's just give. I thought I don't want to sell it. I'd rather find someone that maybe is bigger than me that could wear it. And then the other one was one I picked up off eBay as an old thing, and I stripped it and serviced it, and then put it back together and cleaned it up as best I could.
Nice.
So.
Hey, are you calling me fat? No, I think he is. I think it is and I think it's fair to say that Zach, you are a larger person than Dennis Kriesel. So
I think his wrist size is bigger than mine.
yeah.
I got a little like Trump wrists.
Zach, you're not big. You just have big old wrists. That's all.
Big bone.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Big bone.
You have Trump wrists. Good one. Nice job. All right. So rumor time. What I wanted to talk about was Eclectic Gamers podcast, which Dennis and Tony host. He mentioned something, and this is the first that I'd heard of this. So James Bond.
Really? I
No.
swear I've talked about James Bond on other shows.
I have heard of James
Yes.
Bond, and every
Okay.
time I'm like, okay, James Bond, how would they do that? Because there's been so many different actors. If they only focus on one actor, you're not going to get the movie. People are going to be upset. Like, I don't want Daniel Craig James Bond. I want this James Bond. I don't want the blah blah blah. And then it's like, do you do Do you do Zach's Stern hybrid model of like you don't pull any James Bond? It just is James. You just get the James Bond theme, but now it's like a spy themed game. I don't know, but I don't know where they're gonna go with it. But Dennis, you said on your podcast that the rumor that you are hearing is that they got Pierce Brosnan to do call outs. Now, I do know for a fact that your rumor 2 episodes ago, I don't know how factual that one was. So I'm hoping
Well,
it
is called Rumor Corner, not Fact Corner.
Oh, good. Are you not rumor tamed? Right. Yeah. So I'm kind of in the watch hobby as well. GoldenEye's. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I am very curious. That is a good thought. And to be honest, Tony brought up he basically said if they got Judi Dench, those would be some really good call outs, like instructions and stuff.
Well, I agree with him, but that wasn't what the rumor was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hasn't Judi Dench been like knighted? So Sir Durbin,
she is Dame Judi Dench. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it's a good thought. And it's a good conversation. I don't know, Chad, if you guys have any ideas.
Now, maybe someone who's more familiar with the GoldenEye pin could say whether or not did Pierce Brosnan do the callouts for GoldenEye? Because I don't know. I've only played GoldenEye like twice, and they were at shows, and I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he might have. I don't know. Maybe he's done them before.
Steve, top tier, how you doing, man? James Bond would be cool, like Doctor Who, where you pick the Doctor instead of pick your. I agree, but it's licensing runs everything, right? I mean, the chance that they license, let's say Pierce Brosnan is in it, could they only focus on his stuff? Or are they going to pull clips from Casino Royale?
I think the idea is the call outs are it's the narration, right? So the way I was envisioning it, at least, would be along the lines of, who would be saying jackpot? Who's going to be saying shoot the left orbit to light Goldfinger's laser? And in that way, it doesn't really matter. Just like it doesn't matter that Carl Weathers is talking about scenes from Mandalorian that he wasn't in.
Yeah, good point.
So that's kind of, but I don't know. That's sort of the way I see it.
Brosnan isn't exactly a young dude anymore either. Like I don't know. He would sound well. Who knows? It's only his voice, I guess.
I mean, the closest comparison I can give you is a little bit after Sean Connery retired from film acting after the disastrous League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which was probably reason enough to quit. He voiced a James Bond video game, and people loved it. But obviously, he sounded so much older than when he played James Bond, because even when he did You Only Live Twice or whatever, the Thunderball remake for that non-Eon Studio one, that was like 80 or early 80s. I think it was 1980. So it'd been like over 2 decades since he'd played Bond. But it didn't matter. People were still like, "Yeah, say it like this." And they were into it. So in a way, yeah, it's not going to sound like how he sounded in Die Another Day, but who cares? It's just the idea of having that name associated with it. I mean, the rumors were always back until now that I'm hearing this whole Back to the Future thing with Elwyn on this Kapow stuff, was that Elwyn is a huge Bond fan, and that Elwyn would do Bond. And if that's the case, that's what moves the games. Pierce doesn't really matter in a way. It doesn't matter who's your narrator. But it would be cool to a lot of people who, they like, I love that Hooper does the call-outs in Stranger Things, and I love that Carl Urban does the call-outs in Star Trek. And they look for that. They want that tie. And Carl does the call-outs in Mandalorian.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it on your podcast of like, who was the last person to really do I don't know, like good call, like Lord of the Rings had Gimli did all the call outs. But to be honest, and I know this isn't probably fair, but the Hobbit, all of the call outs are done by Gandalf, but it's not actual Sir Ian McKellen. It's not
right.
It's not him.
It's Bubbly Boboff.
But it's like, it is a very good voice actor. Like, it's not...
I actually thought it was him. That's how
No,
good he is, I think.
It was really, really well done, which is totally different than like Guardians of the Galaxy. That all of the voice acting in that is nowhere near what it should be, to the point where, but Hobbit's voice, like, I actually felt like it's really good because of how great the voice actor was. Raiding Party, hey, the Arcade, how you doing? Thank you for the raid. Appreciate you. So
yeah, I mean, they're great. They're great sound-alikes out there. They don't all bubbly bobo their way through.
So you had talked about, I don't know why I thought of this, but you talked about Sean
Well, look at
Connery.
Mark Silk, what he did for the turtles, right?
Turtles
He
was
did a
really
great
good,
job.
yeah. You had talked about Sean Connery sounding old, but he's always been kind of older than you think he is. But the reality,
Hmm.
this is a fun fact I remember seeing on the internet a while ago. What do you think the age difference was between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery when they filmed Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
I thought it
Because
was something like 6 years.
it's yeah, because Sean Connery plays his father, right? So you would hope he's
Right.
like at least 18 years older. Because they look very different. It's 12 years.
Hmm.
So Harrison
Okay.
Ford Harrison Ford looks younger than he should, and Sean Connery really embraced the gray hair and like looked older than he is. I don't know. That's a fun fact you can I don't know, tell your friends.
What are they
Um,
going to use that for?
a conversation starter. Hey, I'm Dennis. Did you know? Boom. That's
Because Sean Connery ain't doing any new call outs. So.
oh, good, good. If we see a bond machine, we'll include all of the bonds, one bond or 2 to 3 bonds. Zach, what if it's your hybrid model, man? What if it's no
Hmm.
bonds? You know, it's
A new
just you
Bond.
are the new bond. You are 007. I don't know. Harrison looking way better than Sean Connery. Yeah, good point. Yep. Wanted Back to the Future too late. Uh, the arcade. You work. What do you mean you wanted Back to the Future? um,
Yeah,
everyone.
what do you mean? It's coming. It's still coming.
Yeah, but the arcade works for JJP. So what does he mean by wanted Back to the Future and it's too late? Yeah. I think do a Craig Bobbie bond only. Too confusing to do all the bonds. I wanted to make that game. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I know the only person that I know that's like super into James Bond is David Dennis. So I'm pretty sure he'd get into it. But I don't know.
I think Roger Moore was the best James Bond.
It's crazy. What is this? But here's a good question. I mean, what is this saying about Rush though? Like nobody, like people are already past it. You know what I mean? Like I
Hmm.
feel like there are Rush fans that are like, I'm buying it. Like they already know they're buying it. They already have a call in with a distributor. They know they're buying Rush.
But
And
that's
then
true for everything.
yeah, but everybody
Hmm.
else is like, I don't care about Rush. But they're
I'm
just
just gonna
we're
step away for one
already
second. I'll
you're
be
good.
back.
But we're already talking about the next pin. Like, man, he's running. Look at Craig go. He booked it out of there. Um, I don't know. I just think that's interesting that we're already, yeah. Rush is Mega Man's dog. Good reference there, right? I am a big fan of big fan of Mega Man. There is on Pinside. There's a guy that took a Flash. I don't know, Dennis, if you like Mega Man or not, but there's a guy that took a Flash pinball machine and rethemed it to Mega Man, and it was actually really cool.
I've only played like one Mega Man game, and I never won it. So
They're hard, yeah. Just had someone sign on to a Beyonce interest. Oh boy, if there was a Beyonce pin, my wife would be all over it. Yeah, but Craig is backed. Craig is back.
All right,
All right.
guys.
Oh, you're good.
Had to let the dog out, and that's not a euphemism.
All right. JJP Back to the Future would be awesome. It would. There would be a good mode where the playfield would go back and being a white. Wow, wow, Saul. Where the playfield would go back to being a white wood after it all flaked off. That's really good. That was really good, Saul.
oh my god, ouch!
That was really good.
Y'all are mean
Yeah.
tonight. Wow,
That was really
Feisty.
creative, though. Yeah, Craig must have.
well, yes, it was.
Craig must have not. Craig must not have to pee yeah, like a pee bottle like Tom. Yeah, Mega Man was too hard. Mega Man is a hard game. Those old Nintendo games were no joke. Based on Craig's call and Back to the Future, I've already got my name down for the next Elwin LE. Thanks, Craig. Yeah, I mean, there's Elwin 4 for 4, right? There's, I mean, Godzilla. When I heard rumors of Godzilla, I've never cared about Godzilla at all. Don't care about it at all. And so to me, I'd already written it off. Like, was not for me. But man, I have had a lot of fun on that game to the point where it's like maybe this is for me. I don't know.
Maybe it's the greatest pinball machine of all
But
time.
you don't want to let your turtles go.
I know. I don't want to talk I don't want to talk. Turtles is boxed up right now. I'm in my unfinished area. Carpet goes in Tuesday. I will have pinball machines that I can play.
When will this room
Tuesday
be
night.
done?
Yeah, come
I've
on.
It's
never
my
seen such a
entire
slow thing.
basement.
I could have learned how to do this project by now and done it myself.
You know, I have this thing called a job, and then I have these 2 kids that I have to.
Oh yeah, I forgot
you
I'm
know,
unemployed.
Focus. You are-
A lot of excuses.
yeah, Dennis, your snark is just—it's so impressive. It's so consistent and so good. Yeah, but children, and then work happens after they go to bed. That's the problem. Yeah.
Your kids are like 2 months old, aren't they? In bed like at 4?
I have a 1.5-year-old. He goes to bed at 6:30, and then Autumn, my daughter, goes to bed about 8:30. So I have about 8:30 to midnight every day, and believe it or not, sometimes I get tired. But what happens first? Haggis ships Fathom, or Joel finishes. Kaz, the basement will be 6:30. Yes, I am getting.
Seems a little early there, Joel.
I'm getting carpet. Hey,
Is
I'm
the
telling
kid
you.
waking up at 4?
No,
What's happening?
Calvin, literally, my son goes to bed about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and he will sleep until about 7:30. 12 hours. It's
Get out
awesome.
of here.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
awesome.
But
Yeah.
not Autumn.
No, she goes to bed about 8:30, and she pretty much wakes us up every day. Yeah. Was your daughter born in autumn? No, she was born 2 days after the 4th of July.
So you
Yeah.
have like no consistency in your naming schemes.
Well, okay, so my daughter's name is Autumn, and when we knew we were pregnant with our second kid, in my mind, I just assumed we were having a girl. I don't know why, just assumed we were having a girl. So we're talking about names, and my wife really likes alliteration. And in my mind, I was like, April. We'll do April. April's a good name. It works. Our last name is Engelberth. April and Autumn. Like, I like turtles. April and just like, I thought I was good on April. I mentioned it to my wife. She's like, I like that name. 10 minutes go by. She's like, we're not naming her April. I was like, why is that? She goes, I don't want people to just think we looked at a calendar and that's how we name our kids.
That's a fair point.
I was like,
Good
oh,
point, good
crap.
point.
Yeah. All right.
Of course, the other scenario was her going to school and be like, "Why did you get named April?" My dad likes turtles.
Yeah. Have you seen Turtles? Yeah. She's awesome.
And they're gonna play that clip of that little boy. I like turtles.
I like Turtles. Been discussing 0.8 code, George. Hey, we already, yeah.
Yeah, we're not
Wait,
going back.
Wait,
We're
I can
past
pull
that,
the
we're
text
past
document
it.
up, but I think then Dennis will have to take a
No,
break.
no.
Dennis will have to take a break. All right. So rumors. Where is Rush? Where's Rush? So let's talk about. So
yeah, now that's an interesting. All right,
Yeah.
everything, all my sources, my spy, and my spy network isn't nearly as good as Craig.
Mm-mm.
Craig is like he is the mahogany conference table at Stern Pinball. He's like a transformer. He turns himself into
Right.
boring furniture. It's a Canadian thing. You wouldn't understand. And but everything I'd always heard was it's coming out in December. And
Yeah.
now I don't believe it, because what are they going to do? Unless they're going to like, here, it's at Logan Arcade. We're going to tell you like 3 days before Christmas. It doesn't make any sense. So,
well,
yeah.
but they did that right with Stranger Things. Stranger Things.
right. And that's my one thing, but they never waited this close.
No. And there was always rumors of them doing that. Like that was always by now we knew that was kind of going to go down that way, I think. So I'm with Dennis. But I heard that game will not be announced until that machine is on the line. It is not on the line yet. So I think it's just been delayed by parts is my feeling.
I mean, 3/4
I think they
stones a
want to get
year.
it out. I think the plan was to get it out this month.
Okay.
But
So here, I'll share this. So Led
But
Zeppelin.
who knows?
Led Zeppelin's
I mean-
deep dive on TWIP This Week in Pinball came out December 15th. So what is today? That's
and
today?
I'd say of all the months,
Today's
this-
December 16th.
So
you know,
yeah, we're behind.
if parts are a problem and and you're trying to push something through a supply chain, this is probably the worst month going to get stuff through the ports or however they're bringing it in. I mean, short of flying whatever parts they're short on.
What
Even
if
then, but anyway.
Right here, December
what if
30th.
the problem is on all the other games, the Godzillas, the Mandos, the Jurassic Parks, the Deadpools that they're trying to build, isn't the node boards at all? It's that their factory is so full of those fucking rush cabs that there's no room to put anything else there.
Then they'd
'Cause we've
probably
seen
try
that
to get them out.
they're,
Yeah.
they're like tilting over, falling into other photos and stuff all over. And that was like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
They ran out of space because of all the wood.
Yeah,
Saul had another good here.
That's what Craig's doing. He's hiding in a rush cabinet.
I am.
That's
Yep.
why.
On the factory
So he's
floor.
blurring the background. The reality is that's just a green screen. He's at the Stern factory right now.
That is the rush right behind me.
He made a
That's
fort.
why my
He made
thing
a
is
fort out
blurred.
of rush cabinets. Yeah. Saul says it looks like they are in a rush. So wow, good job. I thought it was great. He's in the Stern kitchen. Yeah. What are the odds Elvira gets pushed to 2023 or just flat out canceled? That's a Zach question. I don't know. I mean, Elvira, the regular
Highly
production,
probable.
I think
So
they've
get
already
that
pretty
40th
much.
anniversary.
I think they've already released the schedule for next year on what current games are being made, and I know Zach had mentioned it on TPS. He said, "What is it? Iron Maiden, Led Zeppelin,
There was a third as well, but I don't remember which one.
Guardians."
Yeah, I think there.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Guardians.
Those three
Zeppelin.
games, they haven't officially said final run, but yet there are no plans to make them next year, which is kind of crazy.
But two of those are older, so it's not. I mean, Zeppelin would be the only surprising one, except we know how it sold, so it's not surprising.
They still do that. They still say, "Hey, final run."
Oh, there are still people putting in orders.
Yeah,
but clearly not enough for like they're having to. You're having to make some sacrifices at this point. Got to make some picks and chooses.
Any news on JJP new game? I don't know. I mean, technically, American Pinball said they were supposed to make 2 this year. Don't see that happening unless they're squeezing something in here before the end of the year. P3 has been talking for quite a while that this next game is coming. It's coming. It's coming. Don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think something. I think something happened with. I don't know because I've been confused by some of their decisions in the past, but to me, it doesn't make any sense that they would have teased the licensed game this far along, and I think they had meant it to come out sooner.
Yeah.
But
so JJP has not done anything this year besides Guns N' Roses. Period.
Well, they had a lot of demand for it.
They did, but they don't have the fact that JJP will not be on a single ballot for TWIP.
Yeah, it made my life
Industry
easy
Awards,
for typing
nothing.
that stuff up.
Yeah. Not a single. They did not produce a single game this year besides
New game.
Yeah.
No new game. Yeah.
They produced plenty of Guns N' Roses, but I think Zach on TPS said that he's at least with the allotment that he ordered, like they're like getting through it. So hopefully sooner than later.
That's good. Yeah.
And they opened a second line, right? So that's where they made the Wonkas. So we'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a JJP announcement around Marchish or so.
Yeah. So still months out. George here. Every instance of a movie versus comic or generic art is always better as comic art. Combo that with how impossible it would be to get approval from the actors. Harry Potter book art for the win. I agree with you. Well, Craig,
you sound like you don't agree with
no,
him.
here's the question. So Craig, the Avengers that's sitting behind you, would you have enjoyed that more if instead of it being comic book art, it was all art? It was Photoshop
From the
basically
movie?
straight from the movies with movie clips.
I think the comic was the way to go on that title. Personally.
Would you still think that if I could have gotten you Robert Downey Jr. to do the callouts? Or anyone gets you? Like I don't have him.
Yeah.
On speed dial.
I would have loved it if he did the callouts for the comic art. I mean,
Well,
but I'd say no. I'd still prefer what they did. I actually don't mind the callouts of Avengers. Believe it or not, I don't find it as. I think they got close enough to the original characters that I'm fine with it.
well, what about I mean,
I didn't feel that
Star
way
Wars.
about Deadpool originally.
But like Star Wars though, there is a Star Wars the normal art, and there was a Star Wars the comic book art, and I think I'm seeing Insanity Falls disagrees, but I think overall I think the comic book art version of Star Wars is the one that people are preferring. But that is comic book art on the playfield and in the back by everything, but the movie clips are still.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars was different. The issue with Star Wars is even though it's hand drawn to people, I think to them it felt too much like it was the Photoshop days all over again. Same old poses you see on all the lunch boxes and everything else, and that's what set people off. And when you comic-fied it, at least it felt different.
Well, I mean, Stranger Things right here. These are straight. They got all the actors. They got all the Mando. They got all the actors.
Stranger Thing art was criticized when it
clips.
came out as a bunch of oversaturated. To me, I remember when it came out, I laughed and I said, "This is exactly what pinball people want. You design this stuff out, and then you take those sliders in Photoshop, take the saturation all the way to the right. There you go. That's what you guys want. You don't want real good art. You want oversaturated color. So you can say knocked it out of the park, color pops, all the same old tropes everyone says every game.
But what about but Mando is they got all the likenesses of the actors. So I mean, Harry Potter, I know George is saying that. What are the chances that they would get all the actors? Obviously, if they did Harry Potter and they didn't get all the actors, if Daniel Radcliffe is not on the playfield, people are going to be pissed.
But aren't most of those actors nobodies now? So it's probably not that hard.
So who would be hard? Daniel Radcliffe and
maybe
Hermione,
and maybe Alan Rickman, given that he's deceased and however much control his estate has.
How good would Snape callouts have been? How great would those have been? Those would have been. Mandalorian didn't have all the characters. Well, yeah, it was clear that Mando was left her out on purpose. I would rather have no Harry Potter pin than a Harry Potter pin based on the literature pieces. That's Zach. I mean,
strong take.
It is still going to be based on the book regardless, because I mean, that is the source material.
So what about that rumor that Homepin's got the rights to that?
Because they bonded over, what was it again? They bonded over
their hate for minority groups.
Yeah. Rickman Collins would be amazing. They would. Yeah. For sure. All right, Harry, we're gonna see. I'm curious about. I know Back to the Future is another dream theme of Zach's that is rumored. It's rumored that it's gonna be kind of like an Elvira model, like premium or higher. But are we getting photoshopped art? Are we getting a comic book version of Back to the Future? Are we getting likenesses? Are you gonna get Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox on the playfield?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Craig, Mr. Mahogany Table here. What are you? You're saying yes, they got likenesses. Okay. All right. Comic book version of Back to the
actually
Future.
don't know that for a fact, but I would be... I don't know why you wouldn't have those guys involved. I just feel like you could get those guys, I think, on board.
Yeah.
I don't know why I say that. That's just my gut feeling. I have no clue.
Rush is actually just a code name for an actual Tom Sawyer pin.
At 11:30, I start to, imagine everything is real that I think.
Oh, man. We're going to have to see. Would really like to get a Stranger Things Pro. Stranger Things is a much better game than it was originally expected. But I'm a fan of the premium, personally. I am surprised that they aren't going to make more. But then again, there's such a demand for all their games at this point. It's kind of crazy. I take a Christopher Lloyd Santa Buddies pinball machine. Yeah.
Yeah, someone did a tally up of all the games in production at Stern right now. It's quite frankly ridiculous. It's like over 24.
It's
when you including the separate trims.
Well, I mean, the reality is all of them sell, right? So would it make sense?
You got to draw a line at some point, though.
Yeah, but would it make sense to say we're only going to make premiums of the current, like, just drop the pro line? Or where do you think Stern makes the most money? Where do you think their biggest markup is? I would assume they're all done with LEs of all their old games. But if they just said, all right, if you want to order Deadpool, Guardians, Led Zeppelin, any of these older games, premium or nothing, like that's all we're making, would that make sense?
I mean, I think the decision would be projected based off of what orders the dealers are putting in. Because, my guess would be premium might be what moves on Deadpool and pro might be what moves on Guardians. So it just, I don't know if I would commit it that far. It's just, if everything was completely, sorry, I think we finally won it. I'm sorry. I was so good most of the way through. And I was like, wait, y'all shut up. Shut up.
Deep breath.
Okay.
Is the
Kelsey's
game over?
one job is to be tall, but he occasionally can run. Okay. I'm at peace now. So yes, I think there's the issue right now is the backlog is so severe. So given that it's just a question of the thing you brought up, Joel, the challenge of having, okay, no 2022 Zeppelin, no 2022 Guardians, no 2022, whatever the third one was. It's like, that's just because you've got too many, there are all these different parts and everything. You got too many games potentially on the line. I think that they just need to, given the growth, and what I think is when you ask what sells the most, it's the new stuff. So at this point, you just got to be like Iron Maiden. I know you're great, but you got to go, because we need to concentrate on where there's the most demand, because how many people are you pissing off long term, making people wait? Not to sound snobbish, but I don't wait 6 months for a pin.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So
it's almost better. I agree. It's almost better to cut your losses on those titles and make people happy, in higher volume runs of the new games and get them going, But I'm sure they'd love to do that. I suspect it's not as easy as that, unfortunately.
Why wait 6 months when you can wait a year? Yeah. So
cutting out a run would be easy. They could easily just say, "Hey, we're not making these, 15 Iron Maidens that people have been waiting for 2 years."
Well, that's
sorry.
But here's
it sucks. It does. It sucks no matter what. But
yeah.
But at some point, you just got to be like, if the thing's like if that's the bottleneck, the main bottleneck's node boards, you should be dropping those into Godzillas and Mandos, not Guardians and Iron Maidens. It's just.
But what do you think? I was trying to look at this. It's like, so Batman, they've run multiple times, and they have I get it though, but for the main target demographic, right? This is a theme that really screams to people. Same with Star Wars. Like, if somebody's brand new and says, "I want to get into pinball," Star Wars is a huge title. But if you go with their older stuff, like Guardians of the Galaxy, I could see them saying final run. They're not even going to do it next year. But why, if it's not popular enough to do next year, but they haven't announced final run, I don't know. Do you just say sorry?
I'd even do something creative. I know they would never do this, but I'm just trying to think of, as a PR move as well, to say, okay, anyone that's got an Iron Maiden Pro on order, we're going to cancel that order, but then we're going to give you a premium of, XYZ title that we're about to run here. So as compensation, for waiting 2 years or waiting, 18 months and then having your order canceled.
Yeah, it's just,
I don't know.
It's all weird. Because, Stern, they don't, just because you get your order in with the distributor, you don't get locked in on the old price. So, for example, right. So everyone right now who's been waiting for Deadpool, waiting for Jurassic Park, waiting for Mando, they're not going to get it in this next 2 weeks. And they're going to get to enjoy their several $100 price hike come January 1 through no fault of their own. So you see, there's like a PR thing that's a bit of a problem there already.
I agree.
And
which I think is insane. It's insane.
Yeah. And one of the examples, in terms of like shedding the fat, so to speak, would be Elvira. They keep pushing it back. They clearly don't want to build them. So drop it.
But what if
drop it? Put people out of their misery. Sometimes Old Yeller needs to be taken around back and shot before the rabies fully takes hold. So just put it down and say, you know what? We're done. We're sorry. I don't know if you feel guilty about it. Give them a $200 off coupon to cover a Connect kit.
Yeah.
And move on.
I don't know. Elvira, if they're saying they don't want to build them, well, they just announced that 40th anniversary. So it's like, do they say that like, hey, guess what? Sorry for all you that have orders placed for Elvira, but we're not going to build them anymore. You do have an option for this though. And it's some people would probably pay for the upgrade. And Zach, did you have anybody... Do you, Zach, and maybe you answer this if you want, but did you have anybody that had an order placed for a normal Elvira, and when the 40th came out, they upgraded? Because they're like, finally, at least I can get one, and we'll pay. No. Okay. So no, nobody.
Well, no. And I honestly, I think the reason why you saw Elvira 40 happen, while there were other Elvira premiums in demand, on order, that still haven't happened. Solely came down to the fact of the money. Like at what we were hearing, 15,000 to Stern, and then the distributors set the price from there. At that amount, you know what? I do a lot of work I hate when I get extra money.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's amazing what I can tolerate for a few thousand.
They still haven't really squared away pricing for Elvira next year. It's a good point though. When you look at the themes here though, you know, this isn't like American Pinball that they're like, all right, let's be done with Oktoberfest. Let's be done with Houdini. You know, like that they have titles that they could probably be done with. Every one of these themes that they're still making these are huge themes, and it's funny that I think I agree. I think Iron Maiden's probably the least would be the first to go in my mind. But Guardians, oh my, brought that up that there's a new Guardians movie coming out. So this is still an impactful theme and is going to still be an impactful theme next year. Explain certain sections, Craig. Yeah.
I wish I could explain their actions. I think some of this is a bit. I mean, I get the delay part of it. I think it is I think it is crazy that they are charging people despite the fact that people are waiting. Now, if your name is just on a list and you really haven't committed anything financially, I think it's open season at the end of the day because no one's committed to anything. But I think once money is exchanged and you're agreeing on a price, and I'm handing you over a deposit based on a price that I am, okay with, I think it is absolutely crazy that they come back and now want you to pay more money. I mean, if that doesn't feel like a Kickstarter campaign, I don't know what does. That like happens all the time on Kickstarter campaigns where you plunk down your money, you're committing, and then 6 months into the project when all hell breaks loose, they're like, well, we can get them, but everyone has to pay another $100 now if you want them like in the next 6 weeks. And sure enough, everyone ponies up another $100.
Craig, I feel like you've been burned by a Kickstarter campaign.
I don't know. But that's just it just smacks of that. I hate that feeling, where, you're committing to we're not talking about $100 now you got to pay $125, but
yeah.
I just don't like the principle of it, especially on a high price item. It just feels very sleazy to me, when you're already, it's already borderline, I shouldn't say it's already borderline highway robbery at this price, but you're plunking down a lot of dough, right? And then so for them to come back, and then you're waiting,
Yeah.
and then they come and say, oh, well, actually, we had to fly a lot of parts in, and it's crazy, and it's like, that's not my fucking problem.
Yeah.
I'm not, that's called being a manufacturer, sorry, and I'm what they call a fucking customer, and I've committed to a price. So there's a contract there, in my humblest opinion.
Good point. I mean, I will tell you, I know Zach has alluded to that these insider connected kits, there's a good chance that in the future they probably are going to raise the price. So technically, I've had my name on a list with Zach to buy a Stern Insider Connected kit since the day they were announced. And if all of a sudden, just like 2021, everything pinball related goes up, if all of a sudden Zach tells us like, hey, everybody, that's all the consumers that have had an Insider Connected kit, instead of it being $200, they increase the price to $250. That would suck. I mean, there's no.
Yeah, but I'm okay
that,
with that if no money has changed hands, Joel. That's the big difference. I don't like. I think as soon as money changes hands, I think that's essentially like a contract that's been made.
Well,
and this isn't like you're building a house and the contractor and all of a sudden finds something and okay, now it's going to be a little more. It's going to be a little more.
yeah.
I know there's a lot of unknowns in this day and age in terms of, cost, and there's stuff they don't foresee, but I think that's, frankly, I think it's bullshit. I think they know perfectly well what's involved, or they should know. And if they don't know, they haven't done their homework, and too bad, right?
Zach's saying no money has changed hands. Has to change hands. Though.
Exactly.
Stern isn't enforcing consumers to pay. That's on the dealers. I mean, obviously, nobody gave Zach money to be put on the Beyonce list. Or maybe they did. I don't know. But
I don't know.
Agreed, but the contract of the distro, not so
but I think that's bullshit too. It's with the distributor is essentially an arm of the manufacturer. They're authorized to sell their products. So I think the manufacturer's got to back up the distributor on all that stuff, or else they're just hanging in the breeze. Like, I think that's like hanging the distributor out to dry, essentially, to be the bad guy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Manu, how you doing, buddy?
The distros are the Sarumans to Stern Sauron.
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
are. It is very clear that the distros, they take a beating. They take a beating. They have to be the ones that deliver the bad news. They have to be the ones that.
And
call
we
up
don't
the
have a
customers
Tom
and ask for more
Bombadil to
money.
solve this.
Yeah.
I would love. I don't know. It's probably close to George. He's probably hopped off. I don't know if George is here to defend that.
Well, that's just too bad for
Yeah.
George.
Yeah, came here to see Joel. Ended up falling in love with Craig. So I appreciate you, man. Yeah, Craig, you have no hesitation to speak truth. But I get it. Fair enough. If a distro takes money, then they should eat the loss if they can't deliver at the contract rate. I get that.
Yeah.
I understand, and I understand. If you compare this to, I don't. Oh well, good. I don't know if anybody.
And I tighten up that communication. Again, that's the manufacturers and the distributors, that's the manufacturer not keeping in touch with the distributor and vice versa. Like,
Well, what I was
again,
going to bring up, the Ford Bronco, right? It was announced.
yeah.
Everybody went nuts. People placed orders for those, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think over the course of the year plus that it's been delayed, I don't know if car dealerships are calling up customers and being like, oh, by the way, maybe I'm making that up. I don't know that. I wish Jedi McMuffin Tommy was on here because he bought one. Zach, but
I think what happened there, I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the demand was so hot for those cars right out of the gate that there was basically no discounts. And I wouldn't doubt if some distributors were going over list just to, because they knew they had a hot ticket on their hands,
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little. Anyway, it's fine. Again, if you're willing to pay based on a price that's offered, I'm okay with that at the end of the day. But it's when you've paid, you've put money down on something and then the rug is pulled out from under you that really disturbs me.
Yeah, my overall vibe, and specific to Stern, with the kind of the cost issues and the shipping issues that we've seen in the pandemic, because they are by far the most prolific manufacturer in the game, is it seems like they've never really formulated. I almost get the sense they didn't even try to formulate a plan on what to do, and things have gotten worse and worse. They're not used to backlogs like this. It used to be you put in an order for pretty much anything, and you were going to get it within a month.
Yeah.
Usually within a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, going way back, but when I got my Star Trek, and it was like 3 years after that game came out, and it's just like, yeah, they're going to do another build run in a couple of weeks, Dennis, and then you'll get your game within 5 days of that. And it was all, real smooth and clear and all that. And then when, in 2020, Gary goes onto a podcast, says they're 5,000 units behind schedule. And what have we seen? Cornerstone after cornerstone after cornerstone, announcement, plowing ahead like they think they're going to catch up somehow. But they keep dumping more volume into a hobby that has grown significantly as people have been trapped at home and have had additional money to spend on products like this because they haven't been spending them on vacation. And that's where I've always, I know, not to go ad nauseum about it, but I've repeatedly brought up in my head, surely at some point, once the current license deals are arranged, like they're going to go down to 2 or 1 cornerstones in 1 year and finally get caught up, right? Right? That's the plan, right? And I'm starting to think that I'm wrong. There is no such plan. It's 3 cornerstones forever and ever and ever, and they just think they'll miracle themselves out of this, or people will just give up after they've jacked the price up $2,000 more on the Guardians games, and those will be like, okay, it's finally not worth it anymore. I quit.
Good point. I think
don't forget about the operator angle. Like I get the idea from the homeowner perspective of this whole, hey you guys, this is still, you can flip your game for more than you bought it for, so this is a great time to keep buying, even though the games are getting ridiculous and the amount of cash outlay you have to put into them. I mean, we're talking serious cash outlay you have to commit. That's not insignificant for people, even if you can get your money back on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
But from the operator perspective, we are in our area. I've already seen the operators bring up we don't know if we can commit to every Stern in 2022 because the cash outlay alone is so significant. And the pressure to not go above $1 a game is very strong. We already have area players that come. The prices since the pandemic started, average gameplay in Kansas City have gone up 25 cents a game. Doesn't sound like much, does it?
Mm-hmm.
People are already picking venues that are 75 cents versus $1 because over their hour period, they're like, I can get X more games played if I go to the cheaper place. And
Well,
they're
if they,
making decisions based off of that. And that's hurting
yeah,
operators' pockets.
if they get better, then their games will last
Yes,
longer.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
But the point being that
Yeah.
I like 2 years ago, I could go on location and I could, with a $10 roll of quarters, I know I could play an hour. And now with a $10 roll of quarters, I can maybe play 45 minutes. And what's going to happen is they have to raise the prices up. I'm going to get 30 minutes. What's my other entertainment? Would I rather just go to the movies? They didn't jack their prices up.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. It's multifold. It's not just, I know with all of these, all y'all, because you're one of them, Joel, all y'all podcasters are obsessed with only the home market, but there's more than just that. And and it's not like the home market is 90% of it either. And I think it's very dismissive about how the rest of the hobby's being treated during all of this. And it's all really short-sighted. And I think people are going to really get burned here in the next couple of years. So, but we'll see. I may be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, again, and I think it's good that the distributors at a certain point did stop taking deposits. I think that's smart. Otherwise, there would be a huge problem. So that was good that everyone basically just kind of threw their hands up and said, well, we're going to a list system and fuck the rest. And when things start to flow again and when there's some predictability to it, then maybe we'll get back into a depositing system. So now it's like, I get that. If I'm going to put my name on a list, and our distributor said the same thing up in here in Canada, they said, well, because when I said, I'm like, I'm all right, put me down. And they're like, so what are we talking about here? And he's like, well, today, if I could get you one, it would be this, but I don't know. So I'll let you know when I can get one.
Yeah.
Right. And now in the past, when freight wasn't free, now all of a sudden was free, now all of a sudden freight may be involved as well. Right? Because he's like, well, before I used to make a milk run and I used to be able to fill up a truck with all the games that were coming out. Now it's like, I'll get a call from Stern and they got 3 games for me. So I got to send in a, truck, same cost, probably even a little bit more. And, anyway, it is what it is. It's the time we live in, and it's, the good news is you can take it or leave it. So, the new way, you get your name on a list, distributor calls it, hey, good news, I got a game for you. And you're like, okay, what's it going to cost me? And they're like, well, guess what? The price went up another $300. So, and you're like, nah, you know what? I'm going to wait. And then they go to the next one. Like, okay, see you later. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that system.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think it's not a bad, it wouldn't be a bad thing going forward if they said to everybody, and that's the way they kind of rolled and just left deposits right out of it and said, okay, I got a game, you want it. Now you got to give me your money. Like, I want to deposit today, and then I'm going to have that game for you in 3 days, and I need the balance before I'm going to hand it over to you. And then you're done.
I don't know. I don't know.
I've talked too long about this.
No. You're good. I mean, we talk about this all the time, and it's a crazy dynamic, and it's a crazy thing that, we're talking about Rush. Rush is already coming out, but the reality is anybody that's going to see a Rush pinball machine in the next 4 months probably already has to have their name on a list, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's just what's going on. I bet Rush LEs are already all sold out. Game hasn't even been officially announced. No pictures, no gameplay, no nothing. And that's kind of
like
crazy.
true for all LEs now, except joke LEs where it's 5,000 units.
Yeah, well, that's LEs,
joke LEs, we call those.
But even pros and premiums, because like the last run they did a small, tiny location only run of pros, right, of Godzilla. Then they did all the LEs, and then they did a few pros, a few premiums.
Yeah.
And then that's it, right, for Godzilla? I mean, It's just...
Well, and again, I think that, that's supply chain stuff. Though I wouldn't be too surprised if they stick with that, like do a few pros to get people a taste to, generate future sales. That's the location strategy. And then try and make the LE buy. I always thought it used to be really weird when they ran the LEs. Like, it seemed almost like you were punished for buying the LEs because all these pros came out and you got to have their game first. Yeah. You usually think that your biggest spenders would be the ones that get rewarded. Yeah, no, I mean, again, it's the nature of that choke that they have in terms of being able to produce enough of this stuff that is causing a lot of that. Now, part of the reason why I think some of this will, pressure alleviate eventually is as people do more and more, as people learn to live in the world of, kind of a post-COVID world, though it will be with COVID, obviously, is that people that have been staying home are going to start doing other stuff. And this demand, there's a big chunk of, I believe, a big chunk of buyers right now. They are not pinheads. They are not going to go and buy every pinball machine. Maybe they've decided, hey, I have nothing else to do. I'm going to build a home arcade. That arcade's going to get full. They're not going to constantly rotate through the churn. Some of them will sell it off. Now, a chunk of those people, I think, are going to become location players, though. And they're going to be like, no, I wanted to, I want to start doing cruises and stuff again and buffets with food poisoning. But I do like pinball. And then they're going to be like, oh, wait, there are locations. I can just play for a couple bucks a game and do that, and that will be an avenue where they might still engage with the hobby, but not be this huge lodestone in a way on all of us real pin people that are like, you're buying all the games, you guys, you don't belong here. Go back. Trash. Get out of the way. But
Zach's heading out. Gotta run, guys. I legit have to go deliver a Hot Wheels. Thanks, chat.
Nice. He sold the Hot Wheels.
Yeah. Congrats.
I thought, he listed that on the site earlier.
Yeah.
When I saw it, the Hot Wheels was already sold.
He said he had a premium Hot Wheels ready to go, and then he actually has a few Mandos in stock, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
Let's see if
I actually
still...
thought that Jordan was going to buy that from Flip N Out, was going to buy that Hot Wheels. I just had that feeling.
Didn't he already have one?
He's had one and sold it when he was downsizing. But
then he bought a Halloween, and then he sold that too. So I thought, wow, maybe he's got room for Hot Wheels.
But he never took possession of the Halloween.
No, he sold his spot. Dan Costa, do I still play pinball? Yes, I have. I was saying my basement is literally drywall's done, painting's done, baseboards. I did that. I laid vinyl flooring the other day. I was filling nail holes on the trim before this. Carpet goes in Tuesday, so I will have Tuesday night. There will be pinball machines that were set up, ready to play again.
You can only put in the carpet between the time Autumn's in bed and Son's in bed. So there's like rules. There are weird rules. Man. Why don't you have your kids put the carpet in?
That's a good point. I'll work on that. I'm not seeing the Mando Pro. I don't see. He did not put it on his website, but he said he had Mando Pros in stock, which is
he might
crazy.
Just not have updated the site. He struggles with that website. Do you remember when there was all the merch and you like to scroll down 20 pages to get past all the underwear to the stuff people really wanted?
Yep.
What a mistake. Ugh.
Yeah. So Mando's right here, inventory update. We have been able to secure the following new unbox. So he has, if anybody's on and wants to buy a Stern Pro machine right now, you could do it. Brand new. Be
delivered by Christmas.
Probably. Apparently Zach's delivering here. So he had one.
In the lower 49 states.
Wow, this is actually not a bad deal. Shaker, knocker, magic glass, and upgraded rails for $68.99. That's not... Isn't the original one like 64? That's not a bad gig. No reason.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Are you saying it's a deal of the week?
Bye. Yeah. Yeah, what do we got? I heard every story, not just you. I know Jerry. Oh, they're talking about... Okay, got it.
Yeah, our distributor up here.
Yeah. Sorry about you Canadians. Yeah. I do know Mervin did something crazy with Zach, and they did like a meet at the border swap kind of thing. And not Zach himself, but they like shipped it to a location at the border, and then drove.
That's a plot to one of the scenes from The Untouchables.
No. Mervin Methadone can back it up. He can tell me, but he did something and saved a few $100 doing it.
Yeah, I don't doubt you could save a few $100 if you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
it's a pain in the ass, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
People keep asking where Craig is in Canada. I'm pretty sure Yukon Territory.
I'm down in Chicago.
Yeah.
In the Stern boardroom.
Yes, you are the mahogany table.
All right. Well, we are approaching the 2-hour mark. Is there anything in chat? Anything else random that we should discuss or talk about?
Every time I glance at it, it's entirely random.
Hey, all I can say is I love it. I the fact that chat is active means that people are enjoying themselves and having a good time. So it's not just the three of us talking to each other.
Maybe they're active because they don't like what they're hearing and they're bored and they're entertaining themselves.
There's 27 other people. We'll talk amongst ourselves while these three idiots talk about prices again. Mervin said he used a border storage company. Nice.
Yeah, nice.
All right.
There's a lot of them down there in Buffalo, and
Oh yeah, there are guys talking about E2 not just yeah. Always two sides. Yeah. How do I feel about riverboats? Dennis, what's the deal of the week for a watch? Do you have a watch deal to recommend?
No, I do not. All the watch talk over the last week was Patek Philippe's announcement of a Tiffany themed with the Tiffany Jewelry Company, 5711 Nautilus, which is a discontinued watch, or they've been in the process of discontinuing it throughout the year. They made 170 of them, and the number one watch was put up for a charity auction and it went for 6.5 million.
How do you get on a list to get that watch?
I don't know. Ask Jay-Z. He's the only one I know who has one.
So they're talking about doing it again, but Tiffany branded.
No, this was the one they did again because they did a limited edition
Oh.
green dial variant at the start of the year after they announced they were discontinuing the blue dial variant because, you want a comparison to Stern, Patek said there was a 10-year wait list for that watch. They refused to increase production, and they said, we don't want to be a one-watch company. We're discontinuing it.
Wow.
They're doing these last hurrahs. And so here you go.
So they canceled all the orders, 10-year
Yep.
orders, 10 years worth of orders. They said nope, and they made a new version instead with a
Yep,
limited,
they changed the
that's
color
a
of the
limited
dial.
run.
And made it and sold it for more. And they sold those retail for about $33,000, those green ones. But you couldn't get them retail. They were all instantly sold. And then these Tiffany tie-ins, because Tiffany was the first jewelry company in the U.S. to sell Patek Philippe, was announced here like 2 weeks ago. 170 of them, because it's a 170-year relationship. And those were officially $50,000. This is a steel three-handed watch with a date function. That's all it is. And they auctioned the first one off. And so all in 6.5. I think the actual auction gavel price was like 5.5 million. But there were a lot of fees.
For a watch.
Yes.
There's a lot of fees.
A steel watch. No precious metal in it. It's a steel watch.
So
Steel.
realistically, Dennis, do you feel like watch collectors, who's crazier, watch collectors or pinball collectors?
The crazy's about the same, I would say.
Crazy's about the same.
Well, yeah, because the way I would describe it is, think of it as a sliding scale, and like this is the sliding scale for pinball, and this is the sliding scale for watches. If you want to get into watch collecting, you can do it on the cheap. You can get like in-house movements with actual history in them for under $100.
Okay.
True, interesting pieces that have compelling stories that go back decades, if not over a century. And then if you want to do this other game, the flex game, you can spend millions on a imagine that. Imagine if you wanted a custom pinball machine. How much would you pay? It wouldn't even be $100,000, would it? It'd be like for $50,000, you could get Stern to build you a custom game. With a watch manufacturer, $50,000 gets you something off the rack. They're not going to waste their time giving you a custom for $50,000. So pinball's, and nowadays in pinball, because of the way the hobby is right now, you can't get a working game for under $1,000, except maybe a C tier EM.
Yeah.
But you cap out basically at 30,000. It doesn't go beyond that, really. So that's the difference in the hobbies. Though I guess because having feet in both, what's interesting to me is the people who flex with the toppers and the powder coat and the chrome and pinball, and it's just like that's all a joke to the watch people. That's one watch, and it's not even a good one.
That's a cheap watch, yeah.
It's a cheap watch, and so it's just different. This is different. There's real money in watches. There is not real money in pinball. But there might be, but they don't show it in.
Yeah, unless you're the guy that has the 100-pin collection.
Right, you buy 100.
storage
Right,
unit
so
and
what
they
you do
just-
is you buy 100 games, but you need a ton of space. So watch people, they just like they don't have to they don't have to put carpet in their mansion, Joel, to show off their stuff. They just buy another watch box and another safe.
Well, that's what I mean. I understand some of these football players, these quarterbacks, wide receivers that make millions and millions of dollars. It's like, well, once you have that ridiculous home, what do you spend your money on? And it's like, yeah, they go drop $50,000 on a chain, because whatever, why not?
Sure.
But
some of the problems we were talking about here with Stern, we see that in watches too. Their supply chain, they're not having semiconductor issues, but they're having supply chain issues and production issues and difficulty. For them, it was the watchmakers and the close proximities. So like a lot of them lost a quarter of a year's worth of production last year. So a lot of stuff shot up secondhand in price. So you get on these wait lists, or you go in, you can't buy anything. You can't go and buy a Rolex, and so you have to go secondhand and buy a Rolex, and they sell for
More than
maybe
asking, yeah.
40% more, 50% more than they should.
It's crazy. It's funny how similar they are, and but yet how different. But all right, well, it is midnight. I think it's time to wrap it up.
You got more carpet pinning
Yeah.
to do, or
I think I'm gonna do some caulking on some trim and then call it a night. I'll probably go to bed about 1. It'll be great. But Craig, like always, appreciate you, man. Thanks for if you haven't heard
Thanks, Joel.
the pinball show, he did the pinball show this week with Zach Minnie. Feel free to listen to that. So Craig, appreciate you. Thank you for being on here like always. Dennis Kriesel did the pinball show last week. I'm assuming he'll do it again this week with Zach Minnie. So
yeah, I'm supposed to.
Yeah, then Eclectic Gamers podcast. So feel free to listen to that. That was enjoyable as well. And then yeah, I just released Triple Drain came out 2 days ago. So feel free to listen to that. Me, Tom Graff, and Travis Murray. But everybody, Steve, top tier, Saul, and Sandy Falls. Oh my! I mean, everybody that's been active, Bob, everybody that's been really active in chat. Thanks a ton for being here. Thanks for listening. And if you showed up late and you want to see the beginning of it, this will probably be uploaded to YouTube tomorrow. Everybody have a great. Next time we'll do this chat will probably be after Christmas. But have a great Christmas.
Aren't you dropping the chats? Aren't you going full playback?
I will definitely be streaming next week on my channel. I don't know. I don't know if we'll do a chat.
Will we have to wait and see?
I'm not gonna say it. That's a Craig Bobbie line right there. Yeah. Mervin, thank you, buddy.
We shall wait and see.
Yeah. Well, everybody have a great night. Let's find somebody real quick we need to raid somebody.
Yeah.
Raid
someone playing Turtles.
Ooh, Turtles. George.
I thought George was in bed.
George starts in a minute and 4. See, he always does these countdowns. So
Why?
I don't know. It's like just to build anticipation. I don't know. We'll raid him anyways. Let's see
Let's raid into nothing.
Where's he at? Because if we can raid right at that beginning, if we can count
welcome
down.
to the Flip N Out stream where we send you straight into the void.
That's right.
Raid, don't panic, flip. Great chatter, guys. Thank you. Appreciate you, Mervin. Thanks for being here. Let's see where he's at, because if we can time it right at it says live, and he hasn't started.
Because he's doing his timer. His timer's live.
Oh, he just started now. So he did his countdown, and then now he's doing the intro video.
Which is a 5-minute
let's see him
short that won him the Golden Bear Award back in 2017.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a Stranger Things kind of knockoff thing, but Manu, what's going on? Yeah, let's him go to pee if he needs to. I got it that whole time. Yeah. Yep, you're first. And here, okay, we're gonna raid. We're gonna go ahead and send the raid. But like always, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, chat. Hopefully, we'll see you again soon. I'll be streaming on the Pinball Show in 2 weeks. Otherwise, just another Pinball stream next Wednesday. Yeah, have a great night. See you guys. Send the raid over and stopping the stream. There's